What happened to the children and grandchildren of Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter, America's most enduring presidential couple? While Jimmy Carter is known for his humble post-presidency and humanitarian work, his family has mostly stayed out of the spotlight. But behind the scenes, their story is full of surprising twists, from politics to rock bands, military service, personal struggles, and even heartbreak. Jimmy Carter and Rosalynn Carter's children, 4. John William Jack Carter, born in 1947. Jack was born while Jimmy was stationed in the Navy, far from the peanut fields of Plains, Georgia. He had the classic oldest child energy, ambitious, book-smart, and a little rebellious. Raised in a small southern town, Jack ended up attending multiple colleges: Georgia Tech, Emory, and finally Georgia Southwestern. Just like his dad, he joined the Navy, but unlike his dad, he got discharged for smoking marijuana in 1976. Yep, while his father was running for president. Still, Jack bounced back. He didn't just ride on his family name. He earned a degree in nuclear physics and a law degree, then practiced law with his father-in-law, who was a state senator. He had 2 children with his first wife, Judy Langford, including Jason Carter, who would later run for governor of Georgia and now sits on the Carter Center's board. Jack's life took him from Georgia to Chicago and finally Las Vegas. He tried his hand at politics again in 2006, winning the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate in Nevada. He lost in the general, but hey, Carter persistence runs deep. Now in his late 70s, Jack lives a quieter life with his second wife, Elizabeth, far from the public eye but never far from his family roots. 3. James Earl Chip Carter III. If Jack was the ambitious one, Chip was the wild card. Born in Hawaii during Jimmy's Navy days, Chip worked in the peanut warehouse and later dove straight into politics. He served on the Plains City Council and worked with the Democratic National Committee. Oh, and about that time he smoked pot on the White House roof with Willie Nelson? Yeah, Jimmy confirmed it in a documentary. Nelson said he lit up with a White House servant, but it was actually Chip. Legend. Chip married Karen Griffin in 1973, and they had a son, James Earl Carter IV. That marriage ended in 1980. He remarried twice more, and had a daughter, Margaret Alicia, with his second wife, Ginger. He now lives in Decatur, Georgia, with wife number 3, Becky Payne. Chip also led the Friendship Force, an international cultural exchange nonprofit his parents founded. While he never ran for office like his brother, he stayed close to the family's humanitarian mission. Second, Donald Jeffrey Jeff Carter. The third son, Jeff, was probably the most low-profile Carter kid, but don't underestimate him. Born in Connecticut, Jeff met his future wife, Annette Davis, on day 1 of college. 4 years later, they tied the knot. Jeff was a geography whiz. He graduated with honors from George Washington University and co-founded a company that specialized in computer mapping. Long before Google Maps, this guy was working on digital cartography in 1978. Seriously ahead of his time. Jeff and Annette had 3 boys, Joshua, Jeremy, and James. Tragically, Annette passed away in 2021 at age 68. Their middle son, Jeremy, died young in 2015, at just 28 years old, of a suspected heart attack. The loss rocked the family. In 2024, it was revealed Jeff has Parkinson's disease. His son Joshua shared that he's still living independently, managing his condition with deep brain stimulation therapy. But the reality is tough. He built his house knowing one day he'd need help. Jeff may be quiet, but his journey shows a deep resilience, innovation, and dedication to both family and legacy. 1. Amy Lynn Carter. And now, the Carter kid everyone remembers, Amy. Born in 1967, Amy was just 9 when her dad was elected president, making her one of the youngest kids to live in the White House since JFK's children. Amy grew up in the public eye, from reading during fancy state dinners to having a nanny who was an ex-convict later pardoned. Her childhood wasn't exactly normal. After the presidency, Amy went through her own rebellious phase. She joined protests, got arrested at one of them, and even got kicked out of Brown University for bad grades. But she wasn't down for long. She got a degree in art from Memphis College of Art, and later earned a master's in art history from Tulane. Amy's passion for justice didn't fade. She became a vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy, especially in Central America and South Africa. And she illustrated one of her dad's books. The the little baby Snoogle Fleeger. Adorable. She married James Wenzel and had a son, Hugo, in 1999. After divorcing, she remarried John Joseph J. Kelly in 2007, and they have one son together. Unlike many presidential kids, Amy totally avoided the limelight as an adult. As of 2020, she served on the Carter Center's board of counselors, continuing her family's legacy, quietly but powerfully. Jimmy Carter and Rosalynn Carter's grandchildren, 10. Jason James Carter, born in 1975 to Jack Carter and Judy Langford, Jason Carter had politics practically baked into his DNA. He didn't waste it. Jason studied philosophy and political science at Duke, because one wasn't enough, and then joined the Peace Corps in South Africa. His time abroad inspired a book, Power Lines, where he wrote about post-apartheid life from his own journal entries. After law school at the University of Georgia, he joined a high-powered law firm and worked on voting rights and even represented NFL players. Then came his big leap, politics. In 2010, he won a seat in the Georgia Senate. In 2014, he ran for governor of Georgia and lost, narrowly, to incumbent Nathan Deal. A big swing, but the Carter name still made waves. At his grandfather's funeral in 2025, Jason joked Jimmy was the first millennial, rattling off his policies on marijuana, deregulation, and craft beer. Grandpa would have approved. He's now a father of 2 boys, married to a former journalist, and chair of the Carter Center Board. 9. James Earl Carter IV. Born in 1977 to Chip and Karen Carter, James Earl Carter IV didn't go into politics directly, but he still shook up an election. A self-proclaimed policy wonk, James studied public budgeting and finance at Georgia State University. He spent years digging through Republican clips for fun, until one day he struck political gold. Yep, he was the guy who leaked the infamous 2012 video of Mitt Romney saying 47% of Americans felt entitled to food, healthcare, and housing. The clip blew up and arguably helped tilt the election toward President Obama. James was credited as a research assistant and later founded his own firm. Outside of politics, he's got some serious juggling skills. In 2023, he and his wife Sally visited his grandparents and showed off a juggling routine. Jimmy and Rosalynn loved it. Politics and performance? That's a Carter mix right there. 8. Sarah Rosemary Carter. Sarah Carter, daughter of Jack and Judy, was born in 1978. She earned a bachelor's from Duke and a PhD in neuroscience from UCSF in 2007. Yes, neuroscience. Though she stays out of the spotlight, her academic achievements are incredible. She married Brendan Murphy and has a daughter, Josephine Beverly, born in 2009. The same day, by the way, as Jimmy Carter's birthday. 7. Joshua Josh Jeffrey Carter. Josh Carter, born in 1984 to Jeff and Annette Carter. He graduated from Georgia Tech and now hosts a podcast called Unchanging Principles, named after a favorite Jimmy Carter quote. Josh saw American democracy wobble during recent elections and decided to speak up through stories, reflections, and podcast episodes grounded in his grandfather's teachings. He's also the only Carter grandchild who shared Jimmy's love of woodworking. Every year, Jimmy built a piece of furniture for a fundraiser. Josh, he helped him with every single one. Josh married his childhood sweetheart, Sarah, and they now have 2 sons. 6. Jeremy Davis Carter. Jeremy, born in 1987 to Jeff and Annette, didn't seek fame. He lived a quiet life. After graduating high school, he enrolled at West Georgia University. But in 2015, just 5 days before Christmas, tragedy struck. Jeremy died suddenly from a heart attack at just 28 years old. Jimmy Carter broke the news the next day during his Sunday school sermon. Jeremy had gone down for a nap and never woke up. Despite CPR and emergency care, doctors couldn't save him. 5. Margaret Alicia Carter. Born in 1987 to Chip Carter and his second wife, Ginger Hodges, Margaret Alicia leads a private life. She married Harold Edward Carter and has a daughter named Alicia, born in 2009. That's about all we know. And honestly, sometimes peace and privacy are worth more than press coverage. 4. Jamie Carlton Carter. Jamie, born in 1991 to Jeff and Annette Carter, has kept a low profile. He and his wife Anna started dating in 2017. They had a daughter, Raina Rose, in 2019, and eloped in 2021 during the pandemic. A year later, they held a wedding ceremony, and his brother Josh officiated. Family vibes all the way. 3. Hugo James Wenzel. If you've seen ABC's Claim to Fame, you might know this next guy. Hugo, son of Amy Carter and James Wenzel, was born in 1999. He grew up under the radar, but made headlines when he appeared on the reality show, trying to hide his presidential connection. After getting eliminated, Hugo said, "He's been an amazing grandpa. He's an amazing person. I absolutely love him." He also appeared at Jimmy's 85th birthday ribbon cutting and a climate awareness event in Istanbul. 2. Sarah Chuldenko. Sarah wasn't born a Carter by blood, but she became one when Jack Carter married her mom, Elizabeth Brassfield. Born in 1978, Sarah is a professional painter with degrees from top art schools. She once worked with Jeff Koons and even illustrated a book of poems written by Jimmy Carter himself. She's now married to artist Stephen Reynolds and has 2 daughters. Whether it's genetics or environment, the creative gene definitely runs deep. 1. John Chuldenko. Sarah's brother John also became part of the Carter clan through Jack's marriage to their mother. John studied graphic design but pivoted to filmmaking. He directed a feature film called Nesting and dove into one of the coolest Carter-related projects ever. He discovered the White House has a secret vinyl record collection curated for presidents, and he got to update it. He visited the White House screening room and dug through sealed boxes of music. Literal treasure hunt. He worked with the Recording Industry Association of America to revive the tradition. John lives in Los Angeles with his 2 daughters and continues to tell stories that bridge